Hello designers and welcome back to another Affinity Designer tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to create a vortex, a spiraling vortex made of dots or other shapes. We'll also be covering the move/duplicate feature quite a lot and power duplicate. I'll also show you how to duplicate around a circle. We'll get experimental. Let's get into it. Okay, we're ready to begin. A couple of things to note. Any shortcuts you see will pop up in the bottom left-hand corner. I am using a Mac, so any Windows equivalent I will try and stick in the description. And for those of you who are following along with me and you just want the same setup that you see right in front of you now, it's always the same, 1920 by 1080 pixels, and I'm using an artboard. So today we are creating the spiraling vortex made of lots of little dots. So the first thing I want to show you is how to create the base shape, which is something like this. So for the more advanced user, maybe you already know how to create this, but if you don't, I'm going to show you 4 ways of basically doing the same thing. Some will be more useful than others, okay? So I'll delete that so we can start from scratch. And this is the first way, probably my least favorite way. Head on over to the tools on the left-hand side. Click on the ellipse tool. Now click and drag out a circle. Hold down Shift to keep it in proportion. And if you want to scale from the center, hold down Command as well, just like that. Okay, so I'll leave it around about this big here and let go. Now to move it, I'll hold V. Well, just press V and just click it and drag it up to the top there. Now, for those of you who are very particular, I'm going to click on snapping. And we'll just snap it to the center of the document. You see that green line there? Okay, I'm going to turn off snapping now. Uncheck that. Okay, so we're going to make a duplicate of this circle. So what I'm going to do is hold down Command, click and drag. And you see this is our duplicate. If I want to drag down in a straight line, I hold down Shift. And then you see the yellow line there. So I'll just leave it around about here and let go. From this point, I'm going to make another duplicate of all of these. So I'll select both of these objects. And I'll press Command J. So Command J is power duplicate. So from this point forward, Affinity is going to kind of record what we're doing, and then we can repeat that action. See this little handle up here? I'm going to click and drag it. I'll drag it to about minus 30 degrees. If you want to hold down Shift, you can see it drags in 15-degree increments. Okay, so I'll let go there. And from this point, I can press Command J. And you see that action is duplicating. So I'll just keep pressing it. So that's the first way. We have our circle. It's kind of like a clock, isn't it? 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So that's one way of doing it. I'm going to press Command Z to go back to the very start. I'll show you the second way of doing it. And each time I'll change the color, actually. That makes more sense. So the second way of doing it is heading up to the context toolbar right up here. Click on Enable Transform Origin. When you click on that, you'll see there's a little crosshair inside the circle. Click on that and drag down. Remember, hold down Shift to drag down in a straight line and just drag around there somewhere. So just like before, we're going to press Command J and we're going to hold the handle here, click and drag it whilst holding Shift, and we'll just drag it to minus 30 degrees again. Let go and hold down Command and press J. So power duplicate all around. Okay, so that's the second way of doing it. Let's go ahead and use the third way. I'll press Command Z, go back. There we go. I'll just change the color of that to something else, maybe some kind of pink color. Okay. You can still see the crosshair is there. This time, from this point, I'm going to press Return. And this move/duplicate box appears. And what we're going to do first is just click on Duplicate. And I'm going to tell it the number of copies I want to duplicate. So I'll just put 5 for now and press Return. Nothing has happened, but we just need to go ahead and change the rotation. So you see here under rotation, you can either type into these boxes, or on the word here, you can just click on the word and just drag it out. And you see visually quite pleasing to use it this way rather than just typing. But for now, I will type in -30. And there we go. It goes this way clockwise. So to complete this circle, like all the other ones we did before, I'm just going to type in the number of copies. Remember, I had 1 copy already, so 11 copies and return. And it's just like a clock that has 12 hours. And I can press OK. So that's the third way of doing it. Let me show you the fourth way of doing it. First, I'll just uncheck Enable Transform Origin, and I'll just delete everything. Okay, so way number 4. Head on over to the ellipse tool again. Click on that. Create yourself a big circle and just place it in the center somewhere. We're going to go up to color, and this is our fill. We're going to set fill to none. I'm going to click on the stroke, and I'll just set that to, let's go for a green color this time. Head on over to the stroke tab, and this time we're going to click on dash line style, and you can see if I zoom in, there's lots of little sausages, sausage shapes or little ants, and we want them to be circles. So head down to these little boxes here. So if you type in 0 there and press return, now they're circles. They're all circles there. And to increase the size, you just go onto the width and just drag it up just like this. They're getting much bigger, and there we go. It's exactly the same as the previous 3 versions we've made. These aren't actually individual little shapes right now. They are dashed lines along a vector path. But down here, just like before, you don't have to type in the box. You can always just drag this little rectangle around and increase and decrease the gap in between each of them. Okay, let me put it back to where it was. There we go. I will just say at this point, if you did want to maybe manipulate the circles further, you can go ahead and expand the stroke. So layer, expand stroke, and then you go up to geometry and just click separate curves. And you see now they're individual little circles that you can manipulate further if you want. Okay, so that's 4 ways of doing it. So now that we know how to create the base shape, I'm going to show you how to actually create this vortex. Now, of course, there's always multiple ways of doing the same thing. I'm going to show you a couple of ways. The first way includes power duplicate, and the second way allows for a lot more experimentation. But it's good to know different ways of doing the same thing, right? So I'll just quickly knock up the same shape we just created using all the techniques I've shown you. So there we go. Enable transform origin, press Command J, twist it around, press Command J again. There we go. We have our shape back again. So from this point, you just select all of your circles there and you'll press Command J. Our duplicate has been made. So from this point, I'm going to scale down. So I'm just going to hold Shift, Command, click one of the corners and just drag it in slightly like this. And I'm going to let go. Now I'll grab the handle at the top there and I'll rotate it a little bit, maybe somewhere like that. And I just press Command J to power duplicate from there. So you can see it's kind of spiraling around. And I do want to show you with different colors, as it's more obvious that it's kind of vortex-y, if that's a word. And I'm just pressing Command J lots and lots and lots of times. So this is cool. We have been able to make this vortex, but if I wanted to see how it looks another way, I would literally just have to press Command J and start again. Now, of course, I scaled down before, so all of them are selected. I scaled down. If I press Command J and I do the same thing again, but I scale up a little bit and just twist that around, it will power duplicate outwards like this. Okay, but each time I've created it, I have to press Command Z to go back if I want to try something new. So I do want to show you another way, but before I do that, I just want to show you what it would look like with different colors. So we could actually just go ahead and delete every other spot like this and just delete them. So we're just left with this, or you could start from scratch and just choose different degree increments. So I could go on this one. I'll make sure Enable Transform Origin is on. I'll press Command J and I will just twist it around to -60 degrees. Let go, press Command J, and there we go. We're left with the same shape. So with this one, what I'll do is just select them all and now I'll press Command J and I'll just scale it in a little bit like I did before and twist this around slightly and then just press Command J. So it's still spiraling, it's still black, fair enough. That's good. I'll just keep pressing it. Once I'm happy with that, I could just select them all and I'll just go up to Boolean operations and press add. So they're all just one shape on one layer. And I could choose like a different color for this, maybe a blue color. And now I could just press Command C, Command V, just copy and paste. And then I could just drag it holding the Shift button and just drag it across C to -30. And I could make it a different color. And now you can see the spiral a little bit more evident, can't you? So pretty cool, but there is a better way and I'm going to show you that now. Okay, in this section, we're going to create the vortex, but this time using the better method of move/duplicate, and it's going to allow us to experiment a lot more. To begin with, I don't want to use the same color, so I'm going to delete those ones and replace it with multicolored circles. And I've just chosen up from the color tab there, lots of different colors around the color wheel over here. And it's going to give a little bit more impact when we're experimenting. So the last thing I want to do is just give it a black background. So over to the left-hand side, rectangle tool, shortcut is M. Click on that, and I'm just going to click and drag out a big rectangle. And it's cover everything right now. So I'm going to send it to the back. So I'll just do a shortcut, which is Shift, Command, and left bracket key on the keyboard. Now I'm going to make the background black, go up to the color wheel, make it black. Okay, we're ready to begin. I'm going to click on the Move tool, and I'm going to select all of our circles right there. And from this point, I'll just turn off snapping. From this point, I'm going to press Return. Now we have our Move/duplicate box here, and I'm going to, just like before, press Duplicate, click on Number of Copies, drag that up somewhat, and now I will press on Scale. I'll drag to the left to scale inwards. And you can already see it's way better than using the Power Command method because I don't have to press Command Z every time I want to try something new. I can just simply click and drag left and right and just see visually in front of me what's happening. And this is way better for me for experimenting and, just getting creative. And it looks really cool, doesn't it? So I initially started off by scaling it down. You can also scale outwards, like beyond our original shape, just by clicking on Scale and scaling up beyond 100%. So something like that. And just like before, we can scale down by clicking on the bounding box down there. I'll hold Shift, Command, and drag in so we can keep the proportions. And I'll make it really small, somewhere like that, and let go. And from this point, I could just increase the number of copies so it fills the page. So there we go. Also, we can play around with some of these other options here, and I'll just scale it down a little bit more there. And I'm going to click on horizontal. So if I click horizontal, you can kind of see it's a tunnel that gets bigger there. I'm going to increase the number of copies so it fills the page again. And I can choose a different angle if I want. So I could just click on angle, choose the angle I want to start from, let's say, maybe up here. And now I will just scale in. So we'll start off like that, and then we'll scale in and go down this tunnel, kind of like that 80s vortex kind of tunnel there. There we go. So experimentation, awesome. Let's just place all of these back to 0. So horizontal 0, 0 for vertical, and I'll just scale down again. So when you like whatever you've got, you could just press OK. Or if you're not quite happy with it, you can press cancel. I want to show you something else where we introduce a gradient to it. So I'm just going to press cancel. I'm going to scale this up a little bit. And I'm just going to add all of these individual circles together. So I'm going to go up to Boolean operations. I'm going to click on add. So now it's just one layer in the layers panel. And from this point, I'm going to use the gradient tool. So shortcut for that is G on the keyboard. Click on that, and I'm just going to click and drag out, and we've got two color kind of nodes here. I'm going to add one in the center just by clicking, and I'll choose some kind of blue color like that. And then on the two outer color nodes here, so for that one, I will go up to opacity in the color tab, click and drag that all the way down, and I'll click the other one, click and drag it all the way down. And you can still see it still has that kind of purple tint to it a little bit, even though it's completely transparent. And let's do the test again, shall we? So I'll just zoom out, scale that back down so it's really small. And now I will just press return, just like we did before. And I'll do the same things again. I'll just whack this up and scale outwards like this. And I'll click rotation to add a bit of that to it. And just to experiment a little bit more, I'm just going to use the scale here so I can zoom in. That's really cool. And I will play with the horizontal a little bit as well. And if you see, if I just move this across a little bit, actually, if I just move this over here, it looks a little bit like a DNA strand there. If I click on the horizontal. See, it's kind of twisting around, isn't it? Let's rotate it a lot more so you can see it twisting. And then we'll do the scale to zoom in, and now we're going down the vortex hole, I guess. Okay, so that's another way of doing it. I'll just press cancel again. I'll scale that up. Another thing you can do also is just delete some of the circles and see what you get. So I'll just make them all the same color again, and I'll go up to geometry and separate curves just up there. Click on that, and now I'll just select, hold down shift, select this one. I'll just delete like 3 on each side, and we'll try again. I'll just select all of them, press return, and I'll just do the same again. I'll just bring that in slightly and get a bit of rotation going on. So there we go. That's another thing I've used just by deleting a couple of those circles. I can move the vertical, horizontal, change the angle. There you go, kind of looks three-dimensional. Okay, I actually want to show you a completely different shape now. We're not going to use circles anymore. All right, let me delete it and we'll move on. In this section, we're going to create a completely new shape, but use all the techniques I've shown you throughout the video, so we can experiment a lot more. So in this one, I want you to go ahead and click on the ellipse tool. Shortcut is M. Click and drag out whilst holding Shift and Command to create a perfect circle. Now we're going to go up to the Color tab. We're going to set fill to none, or just press / on your keyboard to eliminate that. Now we're going to click on the stroke and we're going to set it to white. And from this point, what we're going to do is go up to the context toolbar, click on Convert to Curves. So now we can see the nodes here. In between two of the nodes, I want you to hover over on the line, hold down Control on the keyboard, and just click once, and that will delete that section of it. Now what I want you to do is head on up to Layer and Expand Stroke. Click on that, and what we're going to do now is fill this with color. So I'm going to head on over to our gradient tool on the left hand side. Shortcut is G on the keyboard. Click on that, and I'll just click and drag out 2 kind of color nodes there. And we're going to go up to the context toolbar again and select conical. So I've selected conical. Now I'm just going to try and place that in the middle of the circle. And then on these outside little nodes you see here, I'm going to drag this up to around about here. And from this point, we're going to add more color nodes. So up here, I want to click once and I will choose a color for that. So over to the color tab here, I will make this some kind of green color here. And I'm going to add another color node here, and I'll make this red. And this last node down here, I'm going to make this kind of blue like that. Okay, so we have our shape. I'm going to click on the move tool. What I'm going to do is scale it down, holding Shift and Command to keep it in proportion. Scale it down really small, let go. Now I'll press Enter, and we have our move / duplicate, and I'll just go through the same things I was doing before. Click on duplicate, increase the number of copies, and then click on scale, and we will scale it up. I can click on rotate now, and we're getting kind of a wave pattern there, aren't we? So we can start experimenting with this. I'll just keep the rotation going up like that, quite futuristic. In fact, let's play around a little bit with the horizontal. So I'll click on that and drag it left or right, and we'll add more copies. And now we can use that whole scaling thing and go down the tunnel again. So there is one more thing I want to show you with this. I'll just press cancel. I'll just zoom this up a little bit. So what we can do with this is I can just drag it up a little bit. We can go up to the context toolbar again, click on Enable Transform Origin, and we can click on the little crosshair there and just drag it to wherever we want. Maybe we want it to be underneath. So we can try that move / duplicate again to see what it's going to give us. So I'll just scale that down and we'll try it. Press return, duplicate, number of copies going up, and I will press the scale and outwards here. And now I can press rotate. I'm going to make this a lot smaller actually, so I can see what's going on here. Okay, so let me go back to rotation. So look at that. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but it looks kind of cool to me. Let's scale it up a little bit more. I'm literally just playing around and experimenting. So you can pretty much make whatever you want. The sky's the limit here. Transform origin. Obviously we had it underneath. You don't have to have that. You can have it like all the way over here and try again. Just keep testing. Copies, rotate. Okay, let's move on. In this section, I want to show you one last example, and we'll be using a technique I showed you right at the start where we used dashed line style to create lots of circles around a circular shape, and we'll add something extra onto it as well. So let's get started. On the left-hand side, click on the ellipse tool, click and drag out a big circle. What we're going to do now is go over to the color tab. We're going to set the fill to none. We're going to click on the stroke. We're going to make it white, and we're going to go to stroke, and we're going to click stroke width to make it slightly thicker. And then we're going to go to dashed line style. Click on that, and we've got our kind of ants or sausages or whatever they are. We're going to make them circles, so head down, click on 0 on your keyboard, press enter. Now they're all circular shapes. And now we're going to go to layer, expand stroke. So now we're going to fill it with color. So I'm going to head on over to the gradient tool here, click on that, and I'll just click in the center and drag out till it reaches the side there. Now I'll head up to the context toolbar. I'll click on type, conical, click on that. And now we're going to start adding in different colors to it. So I'll just add a few. So this one here, I've added a little color node. I'll go back to the color tab there, and I'll just make that blue. This color node over here, make it a little bit green. And you see where I'm going with this. I'm just kind of going around the color wheel, selecting different colors. And for this one over here, I'll make this red, and I'll click that other node next to it, and I'll also make that red as well, and maybe a little purple here as well. Okay, so now I'm going to press on the move tool, and before I do anything else, I want to add to it. So we don't have to just use the move/duplicate on just this shape. Let's add a little something extra. So I'm going to head on over to the donut tool here. Click on it. If the donut is not showing for you, just long press and you'll see it down there. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the middle. You can see snapping is on, so it's kind of helping me, just this up here. So I'll just go to the middle there, click, and I'll hold Shift Command, drag out. I want to get rid of the stroke that's on this shape here. So up to the color tab, get on stroke, no stroke, and we'll keep this color as well. From this point, there's these little red nodes. I'm going to click on that and just drag it out because I only want a little slim line here. That's about it. So if I select both of these shapes, all I have to do now is just scale it down, and then we can start experimenting. So press return, click on duplicate, number of duplicates. Let's just whack it all the way up there, and we will click on scale. So I'll click on rotation, and you can kind of see a little swirl going on there. Now I'll just zoom in on the scale and zoom out, see what that looks like. And now let's play around with the horizontal. Get that wormhole going, just like we were before, going down the tunnel. Excellent. You see, you can keep adding to your shape and create something truly unique. Okay, in this last extra bonus section, I'm going to show you two more things, and one of them is a really easy vortex to create, just using a simple shape. So what I want you to do, if you're following along with me, head on over to the left-hand side, click on the polygon tool. So long press on that, find the polygon tool somewhere around here. There it is. Click on that. Now I'm going to zoom into the center of the document just till I see the grids, because I'm going to start off really small, and then I'm going to click and drag out whilst holding Shift and Command somewhere like this. And I will probably make this a lot thinner, so I can use the width under the stroke tab and just drag it down to like 2. Scale with object is still on, by the way. And from this point, I'll just press V, the move tool, and I'm going to zoom out. And actually, I just wanted to tell you, if you wanted to test it with more sides than 5, you can go ahead and change it here. Okay, I'm going to zoom out, I'm going to press return and duplicate. I'm going to bring that up to about 40. I'm going to set rotation to like -11, and then I'm going to scale up like this. So if these are slightly too thick for you, these strokes, you can actually change it. But look, this is a proper vortex here. So if we want to make it slightly thinner, we go up to the stroke and we just click on it and drag it down a little bit, and it will make them thinner. So there we go. Obviously, you can change the color like I've shown you earlier on in the tutorial, but this is a really quick, easy way to get this vortex. And of course, you can play around with the vertical and the horizontal, etc. And then you could do that whole wormhole thing. Okay, so that's one example. Let me delete that. Okay, in this last example, we're not going to be creating another vortex, but instead we're going to be using the move/duplicate feature to create a quick and easy grid of circles. So I'm starting off with this little circle down here, really small one, and now I'm going to press return on the keyboard. I'm going to go up to duplicate, and I'm going to up the number of copies, and then I'm going to go on horizontal. So I'm going to click and slide that across until I'm happy with the amount of space between each circle. So 26 pixels I'm happy with. Now I can continue to up the number of copies till it reaches the other side of the page. So 26 pixels, remember that. I'll press OK, and now I will select all of those circles that I've just drawn out, and I'll press return again. So this time we want to go vertical, remember. So first of all, I'm just going to click duplicate, up the amount of copies, and now I'm going to go to vertical and just slide it left. Remember, it was 26 pixels, well, minus 26. So I'm going to put -26 and press return. And now I can up the amount of copies again. And you've got a full page of dots, like a full grid. And you can continue to play around with this and get creative if you want. So we can try playing around with the rotation like this, and right, and distance, etc. Yeah, knock yourself out. By the way, you can actually use the arrow keys on your keyboard to change some of these. So if I press left arrow key or right arrow key, you see what it changes, just so you know. Anyway, that's it. And that concludes another Affinity Designer tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, let me know in the comments section and do all the usual stuff. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, take care and see you on the next one.